What if this is as far as we go? This is as far as you can travel at the speed of light. You try to move on with the flesh, you instantly die. As a species, this is our prime. Now, the pieces of the species need to go back out and find themselves again to create another version of you. This is not the end. This is not the beginning. We are in a constant state of decaying. We are in a constant state of creating. We are breathing out what was breathed into us. We are breathing out what was breathed into us. Pure energy enters the body. Energy will leave the body. Once that energy is exchanged for anything, the carrier or the vessel will start the decomposing process. In that process, the energy will turn itself back to pure energy by traveling in all directions at the speed of light, vibrating all the bad energies off, only leaving the good vibrations for the next vessel. Since you're responsible for your energy, past, present, and the future, be very wise. How, what, why, when, and who you decide to exchange your energy with. The purifying process will vary depending on your exchange. Remember, the purifying process happens in all directions, and there is nothing you can do about it. Once the process has started, you cannot stop it. We are stars collapsing into ourselves. We are black holes collapsing into ourselves. In the process of the cosmic collision, life is created and destroyed. The stars collapse because of an unbalanced amount of light. The black holes collapse because of an unbalanced amount of darkness. Each way of living is creating and destroying by being beings who carry on with their path with pure energy. And there's nothing you can do about it. The thing that gave you life will also take it. Life is brought to you by something. What is it? We'll call it many names. Call it whatever you believe in. But something gave you this energy. And that something eventually is going to decide that it wants their energies back. It no longer wants to play in this realm anymore. And it wants to leave. And it's going to leave. And that's how you have the cycles of black holes and stars. That means that we live in between. It's what we call living, being alive. I like to call it sensing. You enter and leave the body through tunnels. Being alive or being dead, you always see a light. You're passing through a tunnel. You're going through something. You're passing. That means you're going faster than the speed of light. Each black hole and white light must be sensed before moving to the next tunnel. If the requirements are not met, you will recycle and you will not change start points. That means you will go back to where you began. And I don't know about you, how many people remember their beginning? I mean, I'm not going to remember the beginning when they come back around. If you keep failing, your body will come back less useful, with less energy. Because the universe does not waste energy on any creature that doesn't want to live. Eventually, you will be living hell, or what the Christians call hell, or whatever you believe in to be the worst place on the universe. That's where you will be living with your body until you decide to fix the problem. Just remember, each tunnel represents a life cycle, a pattern, something that's constant, something that you notice is there everywhere you go. Your entrance to these tunnels is dependent on your exit. If you started in the light, you would always end in the dark. If you started in the dark, you would always end in the light. It's new beginnings, new endings. That's why there's no new endings. That's why there's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. That's where that saying comes from, because it cycles. Everything in the universe has checks and balance. God, the universe, the light, the darkness cannot and will not take having beings who just are parasites and just suck and suck. They just take and will not produce, and will take and take and will not produce. And then what happens with this is that it destroys its environment. And the environment could be seen very simply because you see it because the environment is the body. It's the first environment that gets destroyed in any war. First thing that goes out is the body. First thing that goes out is the body. So you destroy the environment. Again, this can be seen on life forms. The environment always gets destroyed. That's what we call sickness. Anything has sickness and the environment being destroyed. That means the ecosystem is not stable. The end goal of any species is to survive, right? So why not take care of your environment? If you take care of your environment, you can preserve information. If you can preserve information, by preserving information, you can make life easier for future generations. That's the point of it. It's to make life easier for others. Stop making life harder by destroying your environment. Remember, you're also paying for the future versions of yourselves. The notion that you need to only create and destroy to keep your species alive is an old and a primitive way of thinking. It has not advanced any civilization that has lived this way, or would even improve it. The closed-minded think is what always gets the closed-minded is what gets them killed because they don't want to improve their environment. The moment they are forced to face a problem that's outside of their norm, they panic and they react with violence and they just destroy and then they destroy their environment. Imagine being that you have that little bit of self-awareness that the moment you feel chaos is around you, you destroy. And you destroy anything that's around you, regardless of what it is. It's very hurtful. You don't want creatures like that around you. And eventually they start killing each other over who's right and who's wrong. But neither party knows or understands the origin of the conflict. And they don't kill each other. They kill themselves with self-inflicted harm by making poor choices. And these choices include dietary, where they live, their environment in general, lifestyle choices. All of these things face you. All these things go and stops your progress because it also destroys your inner work. It harms you. That's your biggest self-harm, your inner work. You got to do inner work. You attack the body the moment you don't filter the toxics. You attack the soul the moment you decide not to let go of what you can't control. You attack the spirit the moment you decided to disrespect God's creation. You wound it. You wound it. You wound it. The wounds are often inflicted by ourselves. But you're too vague. You're too reckless to notice that nobody is to blame. You have to look in the mirror and accept, I'm to blame. I'm wrong. I need to improve. I need to do better. Because all the pain can only be processed to a point where you become numb. And when you can't find a way to process it, that becomes very interesting. Because processing requires the right diet with the right mind, then you can connect the body and the soul to the spirit. The spirit is what teaches the language / the code. The language / the code of what you are sensing. Most people will never reach this understanding because, number one, you need to teach yourself. Teaching yourself requires self-discipline. Number two, requires the right ecosystem. You can have all the opportunities in the world. If your ecosystem is not right, all those opportunities just go out the door. Then they're pretty much worthless. And number three, you need to look at the information from all the angles, all the angels, all the angles, all the angels. It has to be looked from all perspectives. And this is where most people quit. I'd say about 99% of people quit here because this requires a lot of time and effort, a lot of work. Again, this is all inner work. The hardest part of the whole process is the inner work. That's where most people fail. Remember, Remember how I told you earlier, too much of anything is bad for us. Too much of anything is bad for us. Too much of anything is bad for us. It's not good for any ecosystem. It creates an unstable life support, which creates an unstable system that only creates things that only exist once, that can only exist once. And it will never be part of the next cycle. These things will never be part of the next cycle. The universe, God, always cleans itself before starting the next season of anything. Of anything that does not want to coexist with. It will always clean itself with the seasons. That's the point of the seasons, to clean out the things we don't want in the next episode. Heaven is your next season. If you exchange your energy correctly. How? It's where you are loved. When your energy is not exchanged correctly. The exchange happens in cycles. These cycles / patterns are things that can be sensed in everything. They are constantly breathing in and constantly breathing out. Meaning life is a sine wave, moving up and down in harmony. Just like all the ones and zeros. Todos los unos y ceros. Para arriba y para abajo. And then you see the whole universe and you map this. And I'm gonna share this with a picture so you can see what I map. But it's all about your perspective, this whole outcome of all this whole idea is that your perspective is what determines what's gonna happen. Be really careful how you see life.